Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, February 24th. So the moon is going to be in Sagittarius energy all day. We're going to get the whole day out of it. But let me tell you, this moon of ours is going to be going void of course around 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be void of course moving into the early hours of Friday morning, at which time it will be locking into Capricorn energy around 11:30 a.m. Friday morning. So we do get the full day in Sag energy. And let me tell you, we are very curious. We are ready to jump into something new. We are ready to stay positive and keep our sights focused on the beautiful opportunities that our intuition is leading us to believe that are absolutely possible and just around the corner. So we have that working for us. This day, though, is probably the most energetically chaotic, energetically busy day, let's say, all week. We have 12 different aspects taking place. If you listened to this week's ascension forecast, you would have learned that the majority of this week's aspects were actually revolving around the number 9, which was about completion, which is about ending cycles. And we had a lot of moon days this week, really helping us to refine our emotions, to get in touch with our emotional side, in touch with our intuition, engage a brand new footing for us to actually operate from. So today, where there are 12 different aspects taking place, this is definitely the busiest day of the week. Now, we start the day off with Mercury, sextiling Chiron. Mercury, of course, rules over our mental plane, our thoughts, our ideas, how it is that we interpret the world around us, how it is that we express ourselves. And let me tell you, today is the day that Mercury leaves his shadow period. So he is up to full steam ahead. He is up to his very strongest strength in his orbit. So we are, although we're in Pisces season and everything is kind of vague and dreamy and wish-washy and kind of all over the place, thank goodness that Mercury is finally up to speed. That's going to help us very, very much so, especially where we're not thinking and speaking the clearest. We definitely want him up to par, up to speed. So Mercury, sextiling Chiron, the wounded healer. This is going to open us up for some very positive aha moments in our head. This is also going to shift out of that negative narrative that many of us have been caught in a funk with and open up a brand new, healthy, healing dialogue within ourselves. It's also going to provide us with a beautiful opportunity to have some beautiful healing conversations. Our relationships have gotten a little bit rocky. We've been a little bit disconnected here, especially in Aquarius season. We're definitely emotionally attached. Now we're in Pisces season. There's all kinds of emotions, but we can't seem to get it out. Our communication skills are a little bit poor at this point because our disconnect from our higher selves to our lower level intellect, there's a big gap there. There's a lot going on. And so this particular energy does provide us with a beautiful opportunity to come up with some solutions to some of the problems that we've been having. We're able to really connect with other individuals, of course, in meaningful relationships that we have to have a healthy dialogue in. We're really heart-centered in doing so. And we're able to be a little bit more clear in what it is that we're trying to convey than we have been in a very, very long time. So that's a beautiful energy to work with. The moon is going to make a very positive aspect to Chiron shortly after Mercury opens us up with Chiron to have a healthy dialogue, to have healthy conversations with those that need to kind of have some closure. The moon trining Chiron right now is really, really putting us in a good heart space, in a good head space as well, but really in a good heart space. We're thinking futuristically. We have a different belief system. We've done the adjustment to our attitude. We are unleashing our thoughts and our heart space in a very empathetic and compassionate way, and we're being really well received, and that's boding very well for many of us. And then the moon sextiles Mercury, which is just getting this heart and head in alignment. This is definitely helping us express ourselves more authentically, express ourselves and our beliefs about what it is that needs to happen for our own individual path, for our happiness, for our relationship, relationship, we are definitely expressing ourselves a lot easier. We're getting a lot of things off of our chest, a lot of things out of our headspace. And this is benefiting not only us as an individual, but our personal relationships that have been lacking that disconnect. Now, the moon is going to get a little bit choppy here. We're going to make an aspect with Uranus in not the nicest way, which will likely be an outside activator, really creating a lot of confusion on what it is that we need to do for ourselves, what it is that we need to do independently to fill and heal some of the voids within us. Again, there's a lot of us expecting people in our relationships to fill the voids that are our responsibility to heal. And so now, because we've had this healthy dialogue come in, we've had this opportunity to really get our heart and head on the same page and express ourselves and be well received. Now it's like, oh, okay, so what do I need to do for myself now? Like, emotionally speaking, I've put out there what it is that I need from other people, but where is it my job to heal some of the emotions within myself? Where can I really express within myself what is my job and what I need other people to meet me halfway with? This is a very transformative time, and we're going to see that by an outside trigger, because something's going to happen in our personal relationships where we're going to want to step back for a second. Yes, we crave connection and intimacy, but something's going to happen to really kind of say, okay, well, I put myself out there. Now I'm going to retreat for a second and see what I can do for myself. The moon is going to go ahead and semi-square Pluto, which is the great transformer, which is going to have a little bit of a negative aspect on us, because now we're going to start feeling fearful and insecure and vulnerable. Like, oh, damn, we exposed too much of ourselves. We were too raw. We were too open. Now what? Well, now this franticness is actually going to push us to want to, retreat even more. But here's the thing. This is an opportunity to boss up. We have to start realizing that in our weakest moments, in our most raw and vulnerable state, that is where the strength is. That is where we have an opportunity to rise in our own personal power, to take control over our emotions, to recognize where it is that, guess what? I really have to do the work within myself before I can start asking others to do the work in our personal relationships. This is going to be an aha moment, a moment of true transformation, of realizing that we have a job to do within ourselves. It's not just the other party. It's not just other people outside of us that need to step up. We need to step up too. The moon is going to square Jupiter, and this is going to put us at odds with ourselves for a couple of reasons. First of all, Jupiter rules over the Sagittarian energy. And the Sagittarian energy is very fiery. It wants to stop thinking about the past. It wants to think very much about the future. Jupiter, of course, is all about that, because he wants us to grow. He wants us to expand. He wants us to open our hearts up, open our heads up. He's in Piscean energy, so he wants us to realize that our dreams matter. What it is that we want more of in our lives is supposed to inspire us to do better. But right now, this square, this conflict is like, oh my goodness, I want all of these elements. I've asked, the people that I love to meet me halfway. And now I've realized that I have some work to do within myself. And now it seems a little bit too much. It seems a little bit overly consuming to me. And this is the point in which we could easily check out. We could easily retreat. Now, I wouldn't recommend that we do that, because, we're supposed to be bossing up in every single opportunity that we have to make major growth. But let me just tell you, this particular energy could come off as being overly dramatic. We could create a little bit of drama for ourselves, because of course, when we start feeling fearful and raw and vulnerable, we tend to want to self-sabotage. And this is a good example on where it is that we can put ourselves out there, and then we pull ourselves back, and then we realize, oh my goodness, we have all of these emotions. We don't know what to do with it. We've asked, the people that we love to step up, and now I have to step up. And now I'm not so sure if I should have done that, because now I have to be responsible to myself. And it all seems to be a little bit much. Now, let me tell you, just as that dark force energy wants to suck us back into a place of paralysis, Venus is going to sextile Neptune. Venus is the lower level octave of Neptune's energy. Neptune's energy is connected to the cosmos. It's where dreams come in, where inspiration comes in, where manifesting energy comes in, and then we bring it into our lower intellect, our lower heart space, our physical bodies from those higher realms. Venus, of course, very focused on our 3D physical realm. And Venus is like, okay, I have these dreams, I have these inspirations, I have these visions, I'm now inspired. What do I want to bring to life? Because of course, Venus, she's the goddess of love and worth and money and happiness and joy. She is literally the portal between the cosmos and this physical realm. Whatever we're inspired to dream of and concoct in our mental plane, in our heart space, Venus helps us roll up our sleeves and actually bring elements to life. So this is a beautiful opportunity for us to get our minds right, because the powerful energy that is coming in midday between Venus and Neptune have a huge probability to accelerate the manifesting process as long as our heart and our head agree. But as you can see, we just dealt with a very interesting kerfuffle of energy, and it's up to us to be able to kind of override those insecurities, override those lower vibrations of being raw and vulnerable, and really stepping into our feminine power, our receptivity, our intuition, our love, our feelings in order to make things happen. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Uranus, this time in a positive way. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Saturn in a very positive way. So these two aspects here is opening our mind up. This is like an aha moment, a moment of genius where we shift our realm, shift our perspective, where we're inspired with new ideas, new visions. And then the Saturn energy is like, how do we build this? How do we take control in our physical realms, even if it's the smallest minute detail in our attitude, in our perspective, in our daily lives, in our roles and responsibilities? How do we take control in the here and now in order to start building towards the vision and the dream that we're now inspired to pursue, that we now know is triggering a passion within us that we have to manifest? Again, going back to Venus and Neptune working together to really bring that higher realm energy into our physical body so that we can roll up our sleeves and start taking action in the here and now. This is a major emotional boss up, and it comes at a perfect time because we're going to end the day off with a little bit of friction. Again, may I remind you, every single time that we enlighten ourselves, that we take one step forward in a positive direction, that dark force energy wants to pull us on back. So Mercury squares Uranus. This is a cluster F in our freaking heads. This is where the negative narrative comes back in to try and, just mess up our vision, our dream. This is where we are not communicating correctly, where the information coming in from our physical realms is so discombobulating compared to the information coming in from our intuition, from the higher realms in our heart space. So this is like, oh my goodness, this is chaotic energy. We don't know what to do with this. This can trigger anxiety. It can almost be verge panic attack. We are riding on the manic side of the energy as we close this day out. And then the moon goes ahead and squares Neptune. This is almost like, the higher forces recognize how powerful we are, how powerful our vision is, how desperately we want to manifest a new reality, and then throws all of this mental crap at us, all of this emotional crap at us to disconnect us from that dream, to disconnect us from that power, from that inspiration, from that passion. And just as we are kind of getting cluster effed in our heart space and in our head space, the moon goes ahead and bumps into Venus. And this, my friends, is where we start seeing the conflict in our external realm, especially with our personal relationships. What you may have conjured up earlier on in the day for the vision and the dream that you wanted for yourself and those that you deem to be worthy and of value to carry on with you in your futuristic vision, they might present in a way that totally disrupts what it is that you thought and what it is that you felt towards them. It may totally throw a fork in your plans of even wanting them around 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. It may just disrupt what it is that you thought you wanted. Don't let this discourage you. Again, we're in a very, very powerful energy of manifesting what it is that we want. So we don't want to be focused and derailed on the negative. So if these situations come up in your physical realm, acting as a trigger, acting as an aggravator, and as an activation for the negative narrative and negative vibrations to come back into your mental plane and heart space, rise above. Act as the observer. Do not react from ego. And recognize that this is a situation that the darker force agenda is throwing at you to keep you off your game, to keep you out of your power, and to prevent you from actually manifesting that beautiful dream, that beautiful vision that you had earlier on in the day.